I'm your host, Janine Hubble-Cox. Today we're here with Jamie Foster Brown and attorney Ben Crump, who is representing Marcus Arbery, the father of Ahmaud Arbery, the young man who was senselessly gunned down back in February while just jogging in a predominantly white neighborhood. Mr. Crump, thank you for being here with us today.
Last time you and I were together, it was Trayvon Martin with Sabrina Fulton, his mom, and I'm heartbroken. I need to find out, what do we do to move forward here and not just keep having protests and talk about it. Is there anything the community can do? Give us something to do, let us know.
Absolutely. And Jamie, thank you for always using your platform to give a voice to the voiceless and comfort to those who are afflicted. You know, the history of America is they have been killing Black people for 400 years. And as I talk about in my book, Open Season, that legalized genocide of colored people, the very laws that are supposed to protect us, they use those laws to kill us. And so with this tragic killing of Ahmaud Arbery on this horrific video that we all see with our eyes, they are constantly trying to use these laws, what I call the intellectual justification of discrimination, to say that what you saw in the video is not what you saw. Right. I mean, and what you saw, Jamie, is a modern day lynching. I mean, they're on a pickup truck with a shotgun and a .357 Magnum gun chasing an unarmed young Black man in broad daylight, and they kill him, and the police don't arrest them that day and allow them to go home and sleep in their beds at night. And so now the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, GBI, has taken over the case. What can we do? We need to be calling and demanding the Georgia Bureau of Investigation arrest this murderous father and son duo today. The probable cause exists on the video. You don't need anything else. The video is enough to arrest you. They arrest Black people with far less every day in America.
Mr. Crump, just from the legal side, and if, all of our audience has by now, I'm sure, seen this horrendous act that was caught on video. This incident happened February the 23rd. We're on May 7th now. Why is this video now emerging?
You know,
who put this video out?
That's the tragedy, and it's still unknown for certain who put the video out. There's a person who claimed to be an attorney representing them at Michael's father and son that released the video, but law enforcement, who I'm sure knew about this video at the beginning, just kept saying that it's an ongoing investigation, Janine. You know, that's the playbook. They just— Absolutely. Justice delayed is justice denied. If they can make this thing go for years, then they're okay with it, because they don't ever want to hold people accountable for killing our children. And so this video was released, it was leaked, and that's the only way it came out. I don't think they were gonna finish this investigation for months. Never meant for us to see this video for months, but thank God to the family and the advocates for saying, no, something's just not right about this case. Something doesn't add up. You got this kid who they're talking about he was committing burglary, but yet he's in t-shirts and shorts with tennis shoes jogging. He doesn't have a burglary mask. He doesn't have a burglary bag. He doesn't have burglary tools. I mean, he was profiled based on the color of his skin. And that's what this lynch mob did. They profiled him based on racism.
And I read reports that there were no reported burglaries in that area at all. Is that correct information?
Yeah, we haven't had any evidence of any burglaries at all. And it's funny, Jamie, how eerily similar it is to Trayvon. Remember, Trayvon was killed on February 26 in 2012. He's killed on February 23rd, 2020. They both allege that they're committing some type of burglary, which there's no evidence at all to support any of that. They both have prosecutors who say they have a conflict of interest, and so they have to get off the case. They both have the state Bureau of Investigations, Trayvon, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Ahmaud, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, who takes over the investigations. They both have objective evidence, Janine, of pursuit. Remember, on Trayvon, we could hear the pursuit of his killer.
Right.
And Ahmaud, we see visually, based on that video, the pursuit with our own eyes. And then after the killing, Trayvon killer goes home and sleeps in his bed. Ahmaud Arbery killers go home and sleep in their bed. And aside from that, it's weeks in Trayvon case before anybody's arrested. And now it's weeks before anybody has been arrested in Ahmaud Arbery. So it's just eerily similar, the similarities.
So, but what I'm trying to, how are we moving forward? What are we doing now? I wanted to bring up the case. There was a case some time ago. I hope that you know about this with Southern Poverty Law Center. They won this case against these racist white men who took a black guy, dragged him behind a truck, and I think his head was severed or whatever, but they sued him.
Bird.
Mr. Bird.
James Bird.
And that occurred in Jasper, Texas,
Yes,
not far from Houston.
Yeah. And so to answer your question, Jamie, I don't know if these men have an affiliation with white supremacy groups or the Ku Klux Klan. We will find out in our discovery. As Janine knows, lawyers get to do discovery. However, I will say I'm cautiously optimistic that these men will be held accountable, even in Southeast Georgia, because we do have that video. And based on the recent cases that I've been handling, whether it's Corey Jones that was featured on the Super Bowl commercial where the young church drummer was broke down, Jamie, on the side of the road, and the police officer in an unmarked cargo van with t-shirt and jeans and a baseball cap came up, never identified himself as a police officer, and killed him, but he was on the phone with the tow truck company, and the audio recording recorded it, and that's the only way we were able to show that he was lying. The all-white jury in Palm Beach, Florida convicted that cop, and they sentenced him to 25 years. And Marquise McGlockton's case in Clearwater, Florida, that's the parking lot vigilante case. The white man, a lot like Trayvon's killer, want to try to impose his will, take the law into his own hands and confront black people, where he killed them in front of his young 5-year-old son, 3-year-old daughter, and 1-year-old daughter. And the all-white jury in Clearwater, Florida convicted him and put him away for 25 years. And then Botham Jones in Dallas, Texas, when the white policewoman, Amber Geiger, went into the alleged wrong apartment, you know, and killed him. The jury convicted her, and she got sentenced to 10 years. So in all, I was part of the representation of all those cases, and we made the prosecutor do their job. As you all know, Janine, we're the civil lawyers. We can't put anybody in jail. We can't prosecute anybody. All we can do is try to make these prosecutors who do not want to prosecute these murderers of our children do their job. That's the most we can do.
Well, Ben, we already know that the criminal justice system is backed up as it is, and it's going to be even more backed up due to COVID. Do you think that this is going to impact how long it takes for this case to go before the grand jury and for charges to be formally filed if the grand jury so finds? Unfortunately,
Janine, it is, and they're going to use it as a convenient excuse. However, we don't believe we have to wait to June 12th to get an arrest. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation can do that now. But before it gets to a grand jury, you know, it's asinine, Jamie. When you think about it in Georgia, the governor's executive order says it is an essential service to get a tattoo at a tattoo parlor. It is an essential service to go to have a beer at the bar. It's an essential service to go bowling at the bowling alley. But it's not essential for the courts to open so we can get justice for Ahmaud Arbery. That's the type of hypocrisy we're dealing with.
How are we doing though, Ben? I mean, what have we as a nation moved forward at all? I'm talking about my Black people. What is it that we can do? What, should we come out whenever there's trials? We got to be there and swarm that courthouse. Tell us what to do. Give us some ideas.
But, the first thing, and I'm sure Janine will agree with me wholeheartedly, Jamie, the first thing we got to do when we get the jury summons to come and serve on the jury, we got to show up.
Go.
But Trayvon had an all-white jury. Black people just didn't show up for the jury's duty. And Janine, I always tell when I speak at churches and things, the hardest thing for a Black lawyer to do is to go into the courtroom with their Black client, and the only other thing in the courtroom Black is the judge's robe, and expect equal justice.
Absolutely. I mean, I have gotten called a jury duty twice. I make sure I go each and every time, just to your point. It's so important that we are represented in the courtroom, be on the jury panels, be the ones who have the ability to decide, the fate of those who are accused of basically hunting us down, just like you said. And as the mother of a 17-year-old African-American male who wanted to go jogging just the other night in a predominantly white subdivision, I told him, I had to tell him twice, absolutely not, and this is why. Right. And this is the sad part about it. This is sad that this is the country we live in, and my 17-year-old son can't even go out for a jog in his own neighborhood when he wants to, because I'm afraid of what may happen.
Well, let's get back to the jury part too, and I appreciate what is so important what you're saying, because this fear. I have sons too, okay, but do we not show up because we lose money, or should we have some sort of money put aside so that our people can go to trial, that they can get transportation? How can we be more? Okay,
Jamie. And this may have to be my last answer, but I think, and I'm sure Janine can add to this, I'm conflicted on this, because I don't believe a lot of times it's about money. I think our people, I don't know if it's just distrust of courts or whatever it is, but they will come up with every excuse under the sun to get out of jury duty. Whereas these Fox News watchers, boy, they give their right arm to be on that jury. They say, yeah, this is the day I'm going to make America great again, because I'm going to be on this jury and I'm going to decide how the law is supposed to be. And oftentimes it's in judgment of one of our children. We got to have that same tenacity and conviction to want to go say, no, we're going to make America right today, because when you're on the jury, Jamie, you really have the power. If you ever wanted to see your vote count, I'm so proud of the times when I had one Black on the jury, Jamie, and they would come after the trial and tell us, Attorney Crump, all of the white people wanted to vote against your client, but I said, no, y'all don't understand where he came from. Y'all don't understand our culture, and I am not going to vote to convict this person. I'm not going to vote to say this person's life had no value if it's a civil matter. And they hold out that jury, and that one person changes the whole conversation.
Everything. Right. Now, so what I'm thinking, then should be something in church we talk about every Sunday. Every Sunday we charge our pastors, please tell your congregation that they get called for jury to go, and then just you gotta drum it into us. Influence.
We should look forward to it like the Fox News watchers. We should look forward. I mean, they really want to. Janine, how bad those conservative white people want to sit on jury duty.
Absolutely, and we should get that same type of attitude.
Yeah, because to them, it's their country, and as Thurgood Marshall said, my personal hero, the Constitution wasn't written for us, but we're going to make it our Constitution anyway. We're going to make it our country anyway.
Absolutely.
God bless you, Jamie.
Ben, thank you so much for joining us. And we send our prayers and condolences out to Mr. Arbery's family.
Yes,
and we want to commend you on the work that you continue to do, being the voice for those who have been unjustly treated and murdered.